All right, so we are back, and today I am breaking down one of the funniest and honestly best press conferences we've had in the boxing scene in a very long time. This is the Fatal Fury fight, not that Fury, not the Fighting Fury family. This is between I would say, generational rivalry. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. Obviously, Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn, two wars back in their day. The first one, probably one of the greatest back and forth fights you'll see, but this one's created its own version of the beef. Yes, legacy is on the line. Yes, they want to carry on the rivalry of their fathers, but more so than that, this has gotten even more personal this time around. And whether or not they're as talented as their dads were, this fight feels like one of the biggest that can be made in the scene right now, especially in the UK, but just in general. And this press conference is going to show us why, because I've heard this got egg-splosive. Some saying it was an egg-sensual performance from Chris Eubank Jr. Okay, I'll stop. If you can't get the hint, I'll explain later. The mind games have started for Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. This is the first of two press conferences, one today, one on Thursday. We're going to break down both. Let's start with this one and why I think Chris Eubank is in not only Conor Benn's head, but pretty much everyone on his team. What do I mean? The breakdown. Let's go.
Eddie, I want to come to you straight away. Here we are, 2.5 years later, Eddie. There's been some ups and downs, ebbs and flows. There was a time when I thought we'd missed the boat on this fight. As we sit here now, knowing this fight is 100% going to happen, how are you feeling?
I can't believe it. I mean, I couldn't believe it the first time around. And, you know, we got to a stage, the fight was announced.
Eddie,
it was the...
You know I don't like you, right?
I don't know.
So, if you know that, what on God's sweet green earth makes you think I'm going to sit here and listen to any of the bollocks that you have to say about it?
To be honest.
Straight away with it. Listen, not many people are going to try to joust on stage verbally with Eddie Hearn, but Chris Eubank Jr. does love him some Chris Eubank Jr. Very cocky, very confident, and he's brash the way he talks about himself, other promoters. Do not forget, he took it to Eddie and Frank Warren for their mistreatment of him and fighters, and what he said was just blatant robbery and other things that he accused him of, and had to be quiet real quick because there were lawsuits coming his way, but he's not afraid to speak his mind, and you can already tell the bad blood straight up just is like, yo, Eddie, I don't like you, so stop talking to me. It is odd, though. They went straight. I know Eddie is probably, you know, he is a big name in the sport of boxing, but Chris Eubank is the champion on stage. And I know that these boxing pressers, you go to, you know, managers and promoters first, and then you come to the boxers, but it is odd that Eddie got the first shout there.
No.
You are?
We're not. We're going to have some parliamentary procedure here today.
Okay. Well, one thing's for sure, you ain't no prime minister.
And we're going to skip past whatever bullshit it was you thought you was going to talk about, and we're going to continue on with the press conference. Ade, you may proceed.
So as I was saying, Ade.
No.
You get your turn.
This is not the Eddie Hearn show.
One thing's for sure, it ain't the Chris Eubank show.
This is not the...
Here we go, dude. Here we go. This is what you wanted, though, because, God, if I'm being dead honest with you, boxing press conferences are so dead most of the time. They're just not super entertaining, and it's not anyone's fault. No one, you know, yeah, you want to have boxers have some personality and have them talk and stuff, but part of it is the way they're set up with these, you know, podium, and the promoters are there, and the managers and the coaches all got to speak, but not every fighter has personality. Fair play to Eubank for sticking it on Eddie right away, but you know Eddie, he's got a freaking gift of gab. He's going to bring it right back. I would like to see it be Chris and Conor, but Eubank is going to take shots at everybody on stage, for sure.
This is Eubank versus Benn, so you can either sabotage this...
You got your man to your right. He's going to say a few words.
You can either sabotage the event, and I'll just start talking to Ben personally, directly, or you can be quiet and we can move on with the press conference. I don't want to hear anything you have to say.
I mean, you can do whatever you want.
We can be here all day.
I've been addressed.
We can be here all day.
I've been addressed.
I don't want to hear what you have to say. So,
well, to be honest with you, many people do.
Ade,
I think I'm more popular than you.
Ade, if you want to...
He said, I think I'm more popular than you. I don't know that he's wrong either. I mean, maybe I'm just YouTube-centric. Like, if I see a video on YouTube of Eddie talking or Chris Eubank talking, unless it has to do with this fight, I'm probably going to watch the video with Eddie. I'm sorry.
Listen, Chris can say what he wants. The bottom line is, his dad don't even like him.
Jesus. Eddie's all, hey, Conor, you going to tell the crowd what you're going to do to Chris Eubank Jr. on fight night? Conor's all, his dad don't even like him. It's pretty well documented that, yeah, there's the personal issues between Chris Eubank Sr. and Jr. and, you know, father being there, father not. It's out there, right? It's public knowledge, so, you know, I guess it's fair play. It is the sport of boxing, right? People are going to say mean things in combat sports, so it's just out of nowhere, like, damn, right away, Conor?
You could not pay that man enough money to sit in this man's corner. Now, that's an accomplishment, Chris. That's an accomplishment. Well done. The most unlikable geezer on the planet. Even your dad don't like you.
Maybe.
Shit,
Maybe,
man.
maybe.
Drop the mic.
He said drop the mic. You can't say drop the mic to your own phrase after you said it. It's supposed to be implied that you okay, never mind.
How are you feeling, Chris, 2.5 years after
What I
this
said.
was supposed to happen? There's been some ups and downs, but here we are. Like I said to Eddie, we're here. The fight will happen April 26th. What are your emotions right now?
The bad guy is back again. He still never cheats. He still never lies. He still never cuts any corners. And yet he is still the bad guy. Isn't it incredible?
Junior has the cadence of Senior. It's crazy. I mean, again, it's his, you know, he is his father's son, but the way he speaks and, you know, he tries to definitely do like the eloquent thing like Senior does. It's crazy, by the way, that Senior speaks the way he does after the wars he's been in. It's kind of unbelievable. He's like immune to like the effects of head trauma, it seems, but you can hear it in the way Eubank Jr. talks. The bad guy is back. It's an incredible thing. Like he has that like almost storytelling. That's what it feels like, is storytelling.
You know, the unique and peculiar situation we find ourselves in here today is that for the first time in boxing history, in a mega fight, there are two bad guys.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Fun fact, I've been booed into every British fight I've had since 2014. Just let that sink in for a second.
No one cares, Chris.
That's
I do. I catch myself being enthralled in the story here. I'm like, okay, two bad guys. Got it. All right. Where's the plot going? Okay, give me Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 here. Where do we get the crescendo? I know we just had the last crescendo in Saudi, but get me to that point of building tension in the fight out. You know what I'm saying? I'm invested. And then you hear Conor Benn. No one cares.
I say all that to say that on April 26th, I'm probably going to be walking into the same environment. But it's okay, because I'm not going to be alone. Like I said, there's two bad guys in this fight. And, you know, there's one in me who has accepted his fate. I gave up on my dreams of being the hero a long, long, long time ago. The other still wants and believes and dreams and prays
Chris, speak on behalf of yourself.
of being
Speak on behalf of
the
yourself.
good guy, of
Speak on
being,
behalf
of being the
yourself.
golden boy. That's what I believe.
No. Speak on behalf of yourself.
I know. I'm just saying what I believe your mindset is at
rubbish.
this stage.
This whole time, this whole 10 minutes you've been talking has been rubbish.
It's okay.
And no one's even like, what do you want, a violin?
The sickening thing about this situation is, Conor, you had it.
I have it.
Oh, mind games, baby. I love it. This is how you tell a story to the payoff. I respect this so much out of Chris Eubank Jr. He knows how to play this game, and he is going to the 7th layer of hell mentally here. I love this. That whole spiel, that whole speech he just gave was to essentially say that I know people don't like me, but this guy still hasn't figured it out yet, and he doesn't know how to handle it. I know how to handle it. I go into every fight, people boo me. It is what it is. I kind of like it now, right? I relish it a little bit. Even after I win, they still boo me. This guy was the golden boy. This guy was the person everyone wanted to root for. He was the next big thing. Undefeated, 14 knockouts. I assume he's going to talk about the failed drug test and how everybody turned on him after that. And now there is literally two bad guys, because at least from what I've seen, yes, you could be a fan of Conor Benn, but most people just don't like Chris Eubank Jr. And you could be a fan of Chris Eubank Jr., but most people will just want him to beat Conor Benn because of the stupid shit Conor Benn did. That's basically how I see this fight, and I think it's such a great read from Eubank to go into this whole thing, wind Conor Benn up, and then just stick it on him with being like, yeah, one of us is okay with being the bad guy, the other guy doesn't know how to deal with it, and it's going to come back to bite him. I love it.
You don't have it.
You had it.
No, I have it.
You had
Your career's
everything.
done.
You
You're
had-
fighting a welterweight at the end
you
of your
had-
career. That sums up your
You
career.
had the whole public behind you. Everyone wanted you to win.
I want to see where
Everyone
you're
wanted
going
you
with
to
this.
be the next big thing in boxing. I never had that.
No one cares.
You know what I would have given to be in that situation that you were in?
But still nobody cares.
You had it.
But nobody cares still, Chris. You're still going on.
Pissed it all away. You literally pissed it all away.
Did you see how quiet he got when he got to the point, when he got to the punchline and said, you pissed it all away?
Over anybody with a world title, you choose to fight at welterweight. Your career's done.
You're not a welterweight, Conor.
You've achieved your career.
You fought at light middleweight in your last
I
fight.
fought like middleweight to prepare for you.
Okay, so
That's all. I'm a welterweight.
No, you're not.
I'm a welterweight.
These are good points. I like this from Conor Benn. Yep, stick it on him. Like, yeah, you need me more than I need you. And to be fair, both of them kind of need each other right now with all the shit they've both gone through. But Conor Benn is still at least considered to be on his way up, and Chris Eubank Jr. on his way out or down, however you want to look at it. But yes, these are, like I said, solid points from Conor Benn to come back after that whole villain arc speech from Eubank Jr. He had to have something.
But let's talk about more pressing matters. Let's talk about something a bit more
Come, let's go. I'm ready for it.
It does honestly look like Eubank Jr. is just leading the press conference. I haven't heard W.A.D.E speak in like 10 minutes. He's just leading this shit. I love it, though. Like, this is the most entertaining format of a presser. Let the fighters, if they have things to say, let them say it and get the fuck out of the way.
You know, like I said, we're both bad guys. Do you accept that? Do you know that you're down here in the dumps with me now? You are a villain in this sport?
Chris, I could not care less. I definitely ain't going to get my violin about and sit talking in a press conference in front of people
no
for a
violin.
good 20 minutes.
Conor, Chris, I would normally not interrupt you, but I do have an important phone call.
No!
I think both of us in the audience would want to hear from this person as well. You can speak now, you're on.
Hello.
This is His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh on the phone wanting to speak to...
Of course it is. Of course it's His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh on the phone, and W.A.D.E for sure just doxed his number. Holy shit.
Conor, it's been a long time since we've seen you in the ring, February last year. By the time the fight rolls around, you're talking nearly 15 months out of the ring. You're moving up in weight as well. You can see where the challenges start to build up. No hesitation about going to 160, 15 months out of the ring?
No concern, really. He's another man in my way that I've got to beat. I don't really look at him and go, oh, you're a big geezer. It's not really a concern to me. Ultimately, he's just an opponent in my way that I've got to beat. And, you know, once I knock him out, I'll move back down to 147 and win the world title.
I mean, that is a massive jump. We talk about Terrence Crawford making a massive jump to fight Canelo. This is the same jump, right? Crawford went from 147 to 154 and then is making another 2-weight class jump. So really, you could say that Terrence is a 147 jumping to 168, but Conor Benn, same kind of window, 147 to 160. This is a massive jump and one not to be taken lightly, not like Chris Eubank Jr. can't punch, right? 25 knockouts and 34 wins. He's got some power in his hands, and again, I said this earlier, Conor Benn has not felt middleweight power in an actual fight, maybe ever. And that's not to count Conor Benn completely out. I know he can crack, but as he comes up in weight, it's a different ball game. And again, it's a big difference. So yeah, maybe Turkey shouldn't have made this fight.
One thing I do want to address, and let's address it in public now, is the rehydration clause. Where are we on this? I don't know who to address here. If I'm going to Ben or Eddie, where are we on this rehydration cap? Ben.
Look, it wasn't something that we expected. It wasn't something that was agreed. I think the first fight, the weight limits, the rehydration, it got a lot of controversy and it wasn't right. This was something that was added in last minute. It's something that we'll deal with. Chris is a professional and he'll make it the way he should, but it's not something you typically see in boxing. Not at this limit, not on the day. And it's just another thing that puts a bit of a downer on the event, when at the end of the day, this is an unbelievable event for British boxing, and it wasn't agreed until 24 hours before a contract was signed.
All right, so to catch everybody up, and to be honest, I'm catching up in real time too. The first time around, this fight also had a rehydration clause in it, and essentially what Ben Shalom is talking about there and why he's a little upset and why I think everybody would be upset and why weight cutting is stupid and why I just hate the whole practice of it. The rehydration clause for this fight the first time around was, I guess, pretty significant, and they're doing it on fight day, right? So you would weigh in the day before fights, and then they check your weight the morning of fight day to make sure you haven't ballooned up too much from the day before, right? You can weigh more than the actual weight that you were supposed to weigh in at, but not too much more, whether it's 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 12 pounds, 9 pounds, 7, like, I don't know the specific number the first time around. I have a feeling, though, and now it's kind of coming out, that they've done the exact same thing this time around. Maybe not as stringent as it was the first time, but having a fighter make weight and then telling them that they can't rehydrate fully until after a certain time on fight day is super debilitating. For sure. And listen, I get it from the Eddie Hearn side of things because your fighter's coming up from welterweight. But that's a choice he made to have this fight happen. Now, again, I know it's two parties have to agree here, but to do so and then put a weight restriction on a current champion in the weight class you're fighting in just feels weird to me. Like if Chris Eubank was coming down to 154 and you were meeting in the middle, then I can maybe understand it a little more, but it's his weight class that you're putting a rehydration clause on him for. That to me is bizarre. I don't think that Eubank should be cutting so much weight that it's a big deal, but it is super detrimental to a fighter to have to not only weigh in on weight the day of, then have a check weight the next day. And I think there's probably going to be periodic check weights as well. Like, this is brutal.
It don't, honestly.
Eddie,
Your man said when the contract...
Stop interrupting me, Eddie. Let me cook.
No, because you got plum. Grade A plum. And you signed the contract.
I did sign the contract.
Let me cook, he said. Now, again, this is a lot of he said, she said, but it is interesting to see. I mean, Chris is kind of getting under Eddie's skin here with this, right? Let me tell it from my perspective. And again, he may be embellishing, which is why Eddie keeps cutting him off. But Eddie cutting him off when he wants to talk about the rehydration clause is not a good look for Eddie or Conor, because it's kind of a shitty thing to do if it's in his weight class. Like they said, the last one was at 157, and okay, like I can kind of understand that if you're doing a little bit of a catch weight. But if we're fighting at 160, which I think we are because they're talking about Conor Benn moving up 2 weight classes, then yeah, it's kind of a shitty thing to do. To be like, yo, you're not going to be able to just weigh in the way you normally would to fight this guy that's not ranked in your division at all. It isn't for a belt. It's just a fun fight that we're doing. It's kind of crazy. But again, on Eddie's side, I get it. His fighter's way smaller. It's just a weird, I hate weight cutting, really. That's all it is.
I'm being paid to restrict my weight.
No, you're on a weight penalty if you miss it.
No. I'm physically being paid.
Such an idiot.
Do you really think
you got
I would
spun
ever
around
do
in
this
these
if there wasn't
negotiations?
some type of incentive?
See that geezer on your right, who I quite like now? He got spun around like a little kid on a playground on a roundabout. And every time he went round, I went, hello, Ben, hello, Ben, hello, Ben.
Again, this is funny from Eddie. This is actually super fucking funny, but you ain't got him riled up enough to have him go at Ben and be like, yeah, well, your man this, your man that. I took advantage of your man in the negotiations. He's saying it without saying it because Eubank has got him talking and it'll just naturally come out, but this is funny.
And he done a good job. He got you a good deal, but he knows what he signed. You know what you signed.
Chris was paid to do this.
I don't care what
Chris
he was
paid
Absolutely.
to do.
Good.
And
Good.
Bottom
he was
line.
paid
Good.
to restrict
Listen,
the weight.
we were over the moon. We got 60-40 split in our favour. Next question.
behave, Eddie.
Eddie has to throw the last little zinger in there. We were over the moon when we got a 60-40 split in our favor. If that's true, which again, I don't know that it is. I think Eddie's probably just, pushing Ben's buttons a little bit. If that is true, that is wild.
The fact of the matter is, it's actually irrelevant. Whether there's
True.
weight clauses, restrictions, it doesn't change the outcome of the fight. One thing that you all need to know that Eddie's tried to push hard over the last few weeks is that the IBF enforced a 10-pound restriction anyway at middleweight, so that's why this is safe. The truth is, that's a lie. The IBF...
They moved it to 12 recently.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which is what he did not tell you, is that it's a 12-pound weight
Oh.
limit. So, just another example of Eddie lying through his teeth to the public.
Whoa.
Caught him. Again, these are little semantics arguments. Yeah, I mean, 10 to 12 pounds, you're talking about a 2-pound difference, and it does make a difference. But again, Chris is going at Eddie here. Damn.
Chris,
Enforce
is it going
a
to make a
10-pound
difference?
limit.
Chris, just get it in the
And
open now. Is it going to make
Not
a
a
difference?
12-pound limit, not
Is it
10.
going to make a difference in this fight?
Why are you talking to me? Conor,
Let me ask you that question.
because your promoter is...
I mean, this is a 10-8, 10-7 Chris Eubank on Eddie Hearn right now. And honestly, on Conor. He is leading this press conference. He is doing his job and Ade's job and Ben Shalom's job. He's just doing the whole thing here. Damn.
It's embarrassing. Say something.
I'm just answering your
I
question.
don't want to talk to you, Eddie.
I don't want to talk to you. You talk so much shit. You're making
You're
me
so
confused.
unimportant to me, it's not even funny.
Ditto.
Chris, let me ask the question then. Will the rehydration clause make a difference?
Will it make a difference? I'm not going to lose the fight, if that's what you mean. Will I be affected? Of course I will. I'm being restricted from how much I can eat and drink. So there will be a slight disadvantage. But I'm being paid, so I will accept that challenge. It's very simple.
It's actually a really good answer for somebody being asked about like a weight cut. Because most guys will just say, oh, no, it won't affect me. That was a pretty honest answer. Like, yeah, it's going to affect me, but I signed on the dotted line and I accepted the challenge, so here I am. It's odd because he's not really complaining about it as much as he's just saying it out loud, and Eddie and Conor are taking it as if he is complaining about it, because maybe he is, right, trying to just put that thought in people's minds and they're catching on to it, but he's never really been like, yeah, like these guys for doing it. It's more just, hey, just so you guys know, this is what's happening. Make your own judgments based off that. It's a very slick way to like approach it.
Nigel,
Legend.
here you go. This is the baton you've passed to your son.
Yeah.
To take the challenge. How do you feel this version of Conor Benn maybe differs from the version that was going to fight 2.5 years ago?
Well, I like to say he's matured in him 2 years. It's like I'm more excited about this fight than it was with me and Chris. See, and I'm so confident, so confident, mate.
Good.
Nigel, what in Conor's career gives you the confidence that he's gonna beat Chris?
What gives me the confidence? Because I know my boy. He's got my DNA, but much better.
He's not even fought at British level.
No. Listen.
Goddamn. Shalom from the rafters, dude. Holy shit. The top rope Shalom here. Bro, he's not even fought at British level. Fuck you talking about? Damn.
Eddie, I've got messages from you.
Ben, did you ask for a rematch?
Of course, it's too easy.
Okay, done.
Paydays.
Thank you.
We're getting paid more.
You signed the contract.
Okay, on to the next thing now. We get it. There's going to be a rematch. No, come on. No, it's too much. It's too much. We're not here to hear you chat shit to Eddie, and it's all bullshit.
That's the best thing you've said all night, Chris.
The only voice I want to hear is Conor, or my own voice. I have. It's the truth. What are we doing here?
I mean, again, I like it because as much as Ben Shalom and Eddie Hearn are on stage, it isn't their show. It's about Chris and it's about Conor. And Ben and Eddie work for the fighters. So yeah, if they don't want to hear that shit no more and they want to talk their shit on stage, they should sit quietly and let the fighters talk their shit on stage. Who gives a fuck about rematches and you asked for this amount and I asked for this no one cares. Let's hear more about how the fight's going to go and let these two go back and forth with each other. That's what we want. Fair play, man. Chris Eubank is killing this shit.
No. This is not a team sport. It's going to be me and Conor hurting each other in a few months' time.
Facts.
So all this bullshit you guys are going back and forth about now, it's irrelevant. No one's going to remember it.
You started it, about the rehydration.
I swear, Eddie just sounds like he's getting a little broed right now. Like, you started it. What?
Conor, I've been meaning to ask you for a long time. It's interested me. How many eggs did you have to eat to fail those two drugs tests? You dirty little omelet.
The reality is...
He said, you dirty little omelet eater. Is that what he said?
You dirty little omelet.
The reality is...
I mean, listen, this question, for whatever reason, has not been, like, he's joking a little bit. Like, oh, how many eggs did it take? But for context, yes, Conor Benn did fail 2 drug tests prior to the first fight. This is why there's the big controversy and why Conor Benn has fallen off the wagon with a lot of fans and why a lot of fans want to see him lose now. He's been labeled a cheater. And honestly, there hasn't been a good explanation for this whole egg contamination that I think the WBC came out and said was the probable reason for it, but something inside the eggs. A similar thing that you've heard about with Canelo and the tainted beef. This seems to be along the same lines for Conor. So getting a straight answer on this is something you'll probably not get ever because of the legalese and PR speak that Conor's probably been told how to speak on this, but I love that Eubank is sticking it on him, dude. 100% he should, because that was the guy that was supposed to fight him. Eubank had to cut weight for that fight and just didn't get to fight, didn't get to show up, didn't get paid. So, yeah, I like this.
Please tell me.
The reality is...
It's been racking my brains for a long time.
No problem.
Everyone wants to know.
The reality is, I've been cleared 3 times by the NADP, by the WBC, by U.K.A.D., by the way, which people are a lot smarter than you. Number 1, I've been cleared. 2, you will never be cleared of being a wanker. Period. That's it.
It's a funny line, but in reality, it's Conor Benn saying, like, he can't physically say that he didn't fail a drug test or that it wasn't in his system, because it was, and he did. So he's got to go to the next thing, which is, I was cleared after the fact by the X, Y, and Z commission and sanctioning body.
What does it mean?
You have the IQ of a 5-year-old child.
Does that mean that the drugs weren't in your system?
I've been cleared. Done.
There you go.
That's it. Go on. No, you keep going on, but I've been
The
cleared.
entire public wants to know why
No, but that's the truth.
there were
You're an idiot.
performance-enhancing drugs in your system, and all you and Eddie can come up with
Do your
after
research.
2.5 years
Do your
is
research. Do your
he's
research.
been cleared. We can't say how or why.
Do your research,
but he's
Chris.
been cleared. It's okay.
Well, I would like
He is cooking. Had that man Conor Benn saying, "Do your research." Yeah, buddy, it's over. I mean, that's case closed to me. Like, when you start hitting the Bryce Mitchell talk, dog, and you start hitting your do your research, brother. Do your research. Yeah, it's done.
April 26th, the procedure will be parliamentary.
And on that note, we end
I fucking love Chris Eubank Jr. I know people don't like him being cocky and he's a bit arrogant, but fuck it, man. Maybe it's just the American side of sports that we enjoy. We like a bit of the brash talking, the swagger having dudes that come through, even if it is a little bit cringe. You know what? I'm with it. I'm with the whole story. And as much as I think Conor Benn's super talented, I do think Chris Eubank Jr. is going to win this fight. But we're so far away from fight week, we are even not done with the press tour. We have another press conference coming in a couple days, but before we even get there, some would say the highlight or lowlight of the press conference was next. Let's take a look at this face-off, and let's see who executed it better. Terrible on that one. Now, I didn't notice this at first, but now watching it in retrospect, there is an open pouch on this jacket that Chris Eubank is wearing. Beautiful designer jacket, but there's an open pouch for a reason. So Eubank Jr. like bending over like to each side, acting like he's trying to hear Conor Benn, and then all of a sudden, boom! And here we go, dude. Holy shit. Chaos. Dude, look at Conor, bro. Holy shit. Trying to fight off security guards. We're going to replay this. I just wanted to show you guys off rip. He's choking. He's choking one of the security men. Now, you see something on the side of Conor Benn's head here. Originally, I thought it was just a slap. I thought that he was kind of leaning over to the side so he could get Conor Benn to turn his head so he could slap him. If so, I mean, I don't mind fighters pushing and shoving. Probably shouldn't be slapping each other at the face-off. Security did a pretty good job of corralling it while they could, but I thought it was just an open hand slap from Chris Eubank Jr. It turns out there might have been something else that went sunny side up on Conor Benn's face. Oh my God. So there's Nigel. He's actually trying to choke Chris Eubank Jr. because that man is on timing, son. Trying to get at him. 61 years old, ready to go. So as we replay this, you'll see that, in fact, it was an egg that Chris Eubank Jr. smashed on the side of the head of Conor Benn. Again, he was asking him about the eggs. He was asking him how much they may have affected his failed drug tests in the past. Obviously, a play on words there. Here's the picture form result that we get from, it kind of looks like he's caressing him here. He's off. But then you see the eggs just all over. It just is a crazy visual. So here goes everybody kicking off. Here we go. Watch Eddie. Look at who he goes after here. I'm getting at somebody. I'm getting at somebody, man. What's up, Ben? Bow. Give Shalom a shove. Hey, listen, fair play. Shalom didn't go nowhere. Anyway, listen. Do I condone eggs or any sort of object being thrown or slapped or punched into someone's face or other bodily orifice between two fighters on stage that are face-off? Of course not. Yes, it's over the line. You shouldn't be doing it. They shouldn't be putting hands on each other. But it is the fight game, and we've seen far worse. We've seen guys get in fights. We've seen people throw dollies in this game in the combat sports world. So I'm not going to excuse it. Eubank shouldn't have done it. It's funny because of the egg, but it could have gotten serious regardless. What I do know is what is being said by Team Conor Benn now based on what happened with the egg situation. Here's Conor Benn being asked about what's next.
That's the only shot he's getting off me, silly brick.
Is it on site next time, Conor?
Of course it is.
What's going to happen Thursday? What's going to happen Thursday? He's going to get chipped. Do you think Ben Shalom?
So, this is the problem, is now we've escalated past the talking, past the mean name calling, and referring to drug tests and bad records and how the fight's going to go. Now you have not only Conor saying that, you have Eddie Hearn also saying that it's on site the next time they see each other, which will be Thursday at the next press conference. I hope there's added security. I hope there are measures in place that don't allow these two to somehow get into an altercation that ends the fight, because yes, this did a lot to help build the fight, but there's a line between building it and completely destroying it. And I don't want these two to hit that, because I think it's going to be an incredible build to this fight. And on the night, it's going to be an entertaining fight for however long it goes down. If it is like Conor Benn is saying, he's going to knock him out in the first 3 rounds, then holy shit, that's going to be wild. Or if it's Eubank Jr., you know, showing that superior skill and experience and size as much as he doesn't want to admit it, and that'll probably also be an entertaining performance. So I love this press conference. I hope you guys did too. Let me know what you think down below about the, we'll call it egging on of the slap between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. Honestly, the preparation has to be commended from Eubank Jr. The ability to have the stuff ready to go, to have the one-liners, to have the actions in place, to do what he wanted to do. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying the planning was A1. How does Team Conor Benn come back? Because he got, quite frankly, 10-7 in this press conference, in my opinion. But I don't have those answers. We'll find out Thursday. I'll see you then. Guess we'll find out.